I'm going to start with Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP. Shehzad, what do you think? Wishful thinking, predicated on reality, vulnerability of the government, Rahul Gandhi playing mind games? What do you think?
Thank you, Shiv, for having me on your show. And it's also Rahul Gandhi's birthday, incidentally. So let me wish him a very happy birthday. And
we all wish him a happy birthday.
Is yet another evidence that just because you grow 1 year, his birthday is an evidence that just because you grow 1 year older doesn't mean you become 1 year wiser. And I think that even at 54, he speaks first, thinks later, and that's what is being projected even now. Let me tell you why. Because Rahul is coming off like a nosy neighbor who is more interested in what's happening in somebody else's house rather than his own. The NDA-3 government has been formed. The Prime Minister has been elected and sworn in. There are 71 ministers along with him. There is an NDA government in Arunachal, Andhra and Odisha that has also been sworn in. But yet we don't have an LOP as of now because they have not even had a discussion with their allies. The India alliance, by the way, fell apart in Delhi as soon as the elections got over. The India alliance hasn't resurrected itself in Bengal or in Kerala. The India alliance is going in tatters in Kerala because they projected Priyanka Vadra without even asking the left. Here you have the party falling apart right from Haryana to Karnataka, but Rahul Gandhi, the nosy neighbor, is more interested in what's happening in somebody else's house. And let me also tell one more thing. You know, on India Today, particularly on the 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. shows, the Congress party spokespersons would come and tell the anchors of those shows, look, the BJP is doing jod tod ki rajniti, and Rashid used to be a part of those
specific
debates,
comments on any shows,
today, at least,
Shehzad. Just make your point.
At least from today, the sanctimonious, lecturing that was given to us, that we go around breaking parties and breaking governments, that will stop from all anchors, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. And perhaps they will ask the Congress party a question or two about who is doing jod tod ki rajniti. Let me give two concrete examples. One, the India Alliance fielded a candidate in Sangli called against Vishal Patil. Vishal Patil was the rebel candidate not of the India Alliance, but the Congress supported him, got him to win, and now took him in the party. Pappu Yadav was fielded as a rebel against Bhima Bharti, the official candidate of RJD. Pappu Yadav won, and they took him in the alliance. So who is breaking their own alliance and who's taking their own alliance for granted? They haven't been able to even come up with an LOP. And I would lastly, just 10 more seconds, forget about our stability, show some worthiness towards your fidelity. You said that महंगाई कम करेंगे, कर्नाटका में महंगाई पानी से लेकर बिजली तक और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से लेकर डीजल पेट्रोल तक बढ़ा दी. So show some fidelity towards the promises you made.
So Shehzad says that Rahul, just to very quickly summarize before I bring in Sanjay Jha, Shehzad says that this is all silly stuff. The opposition has more than enough of its own problems to be dwelling on what's happening with what Shehzad says is a very stable government, and this is just wishful thinking, and it's making Rahul Gandhi look very silly. Sanjay Jha, is this just psychological operations, which is par for the course? Just because the election is over doesn't mean the rhetoric needs to end. God knows we've seen enough, rhetoric, warnings, claims, aims, etc. during this election campaign. Is Rahul Gandhi just indulging in a bit of it, or is there some actual, vulnerability that he seems to want to tap into?
Shiv, good evening and good to be on your program, and hello to all my fellow panelists. This is actually a serious program if you think about it. I agree with you completely. The hyperbole will continue because in politics, that's what we do best. But the bottom line is that everybody also knows that this is, for the first time, a very strong man, authoritarian leader who's being supported by alliance partners that he really genuinely does not trust. And here are 2 points I wish to make. I'm not going to indulge in this petty pedestrian conversation on the way Shehzad took off, because by that logic, I think, that age and competence and maturity may be inversely related, can also apply to a gentleman who's 74 years old. But let's move on from that point. I think the larger point is that if you look at the intrinsic problem that this government has, Narendra Modi has always been given the credit, and I think rightfully so, for being extremely decisive. Now, look at the issues on which he now is actually having both his feet on two separate banana peels. Uniform Civil Code, making the one nation, one election a reality. Third, I think very critical again, In fact, the government, or rather the political party, claimed they would even contemplate changing the name of India. You've had issues in terms of probably forcing changes in the Indian federal structure that Mr. Modi is gambled on big time. There are people who have also been concerned. I mean, that's a genuine worry about various constitutional amendments. One of the reasons why they did disastrously in Uttar Pradesh. So I think there is going to be a problem. And one of the biggest ones, in my opinion, Shiv, before we get the other panelists in, is going to be that in this election, Mr. Modi himself made a very undisguised, unalloyed, unambiguous anti-minority pitch. And we know that we are talking about primarily Muslims here. And if you look at both the JDU and the TDP, look at the TDP's manifesto, Shiv, in detail. And I think there's nothing wrong with that manifesto at all. They have talked about emancipation of the minorities and Muslims in particular. And I think it flies in the face of Mr. Modi's extremely polarizing narrative. How will this government survive these inherent contradictions? I think Ram Bharose, only God knows.
But not being able to perhaps, as swiftly conduct business and, push forward with national agenda items is not necessarily the same thing as instability, is what I would argue back. But we'll get back into that in a little bit more detail. Rajat, the issue of vulnerability is something that we've seen right from the day of the results. But, all the indicators that have come out, there is no question that Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar are unpredictable politicians. And I would never sit here and predict what's going to happen over 5 years. But the sense that has been given out and the sense that has been seen to be given out by both these allies is that they are here for the 5 years and they are not going anywhere. Do you see any vulnerabilities vis-a-vis these two allies? Because that's what is being indicated by Rahul Gandhi and Sanjay.
See, this is where, the two camps, the NDA and the India Alliance, are living into alternative realities. And you'll be astonished, and your viewers will be astonished. I was speaking to a few senior Congress leaders. They are genuinely convinced that somehow this election they have won. They're not calling it moral victory or anything. It's just their body language. Internally, they're very serious about it. They genuinely feel that the mandate is in their favor, and this government is just a government where sort of a ragtag government which will fall any day. This is a genuine internalized idea about the current mandate. If they are so far away from where the common sense reality sort of says, what can you say? Right now, I have been to a few international channels, including Al Jazeera and France 24. I was just telling them the largest party in India has 240 seats. The second largest party has 99 seats. And the third largest party has around 37 odd seats. In this is the pecking order. In this pecking order, do you, by any kind of a mathematical arrangement, do you think that the alternative formation will see any kind of stability will so many 15, 16 parties come together and come up to a common minimum program? Or even that is a viable? And then there are multiple numbers of internal inconsistencies, which will be, if we start off, the whole show will be over. So my point is that, see, there's a nursery rhyme, if wishes were horses, beggar would ride it. The problem is, right now, if you only want to wishfully think that the government will fall, the government will not fall. Rahul Gandhi will have to show consistency and maturity on people-centric issues. The way he sort of handles it and corners the government over and over again is how he can destabilize the government. There are
and we've got a parliament session that's coming up where the opposition, including Rahul Gandhi, will have that first opportunity to demonstrate any new consistency he may have harnessed. But Rashid Bhai, your take on this, beyond the rhetoric and whether this person will leave or not, as far as the numbers are concerned, 240 with the BJP, over 290 overall. You've been on many shows where you've talked about whether this government is actually fragile. There is no question that the BJP has been cut to size. But is it fragile in your view, as Rahul is indicating?
Both yes and no. Shiv, we have had long history of coalition governments. Coalition governments are inherently, unstable. They have, even if they are stable, they do not know what will happen, week down the line, a month, a year. So there is a degree of vulnerability. And vulnerability is not just about numbers. It's about also what to do with something with the internal, politics. Of that particular political party. Look what happened in Janata Party in 1977. And suddenly Charan Singh came out and it went away. Then Chandrasekhar government. Then we have VP Singh government when Rajiv Gandhi government was very stable. So there are all kind of examples are there. There is also political, a situation in the country. There are going to be elections in Haryana, Maharashtra, Jharkhand, and J&K. See, political loyalty in this kind of alliance regime is highly transactional. As long as Mr. Modi is successful, as long as Mr. Modi can win under his leadership, BJP can win states, everything is going to be fine. But if at all, if there are electoral setbacks, then it would set people thinking. And that is where it comes in. See, here there are only two formations are there. One is, of course, NDA and India Alliance. Both need to consolidate their kind of alliance partners, and both have a chance. So you can be talking about 99. Actually, the Congress figure is now 102 because 3 independent MPs have joined. But that is not important. I think Mr. Modi will need to be very careful. The kind of thing that he is displaying, that everything is normal, everything is, is a continuation of Modi 2.2, it actually betrays a sense of nervousness and anxiety.